Our lives changed forever on March 26, 2008, when our son Bobby was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He was just a baby. While in the hospital, Todd and I took turns sleeping with Bobby. It was his first time out of his crib and his first experience in a big boy bed. Bobby was so frightened and kept asking to go home the entire time we were there. After a few days of education on how to care for Bobby, we left the hospital, grateful to leave with our son when so many suffering children remained. It was painful that first day home to tell him the shots, the finger pricks, the insulin injections, the scheduled meals, the middle of the night blood checks were not over, but would continue every day until there was a cure. Our families were devastated. The carefree childhood we all imagined for our son was destroyed. No class, no book, no education could have prepared us for the last 2 years of having a young child with diabetes. Trying to guess what a toddler will eat is challenging enough. But for a type 1 child, it is survival. I constantly ask myself, how many carbohydrates will Bobby actually consume? And should I wait a little longer to give him his insulin to see if he finishes everything? The longer I wait, the higher his blood sugar will be. So many times I have begged him to eat after I have given him his insulin, only to have him refuse. Have you ever tried to reason with a 2-year-old? Naturally, no one could have prepared us for the high blood sugars of the flu, for the low blood sugars of the stomach bugs, or for what 20 minutes of soccer can do to Bobby's blood sugar. And he is a great soccer player. Our nightmare diagnosis was magnified by the fact that there is no exact formula to care for a child with type 1 diabetes, and there is no cure. Every day is different, but yet, in a way, they are all the same. There is no rest. A parent of a child with diabetes can never forget about the disease or its horrific complications. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I physically felt like my heart was broken, and it was. I was living blood check to blood check every few hours. Truly, by the grace of God, I eventually pulled myself together, and I began to call and email anyone and everyone I knew who had some affiliation with type 1 diabetes. Julie Abus at JDRF was my first mom. And from there, I called and emailed 10 complete strangers. Many of you are here tonight. Our only connection was our child's diagnosis. I left messages, I left emails, and do you know that every single one of those moms returned my call? All of these women were generous with their time, their wisdom, and kindness. They literally became my lifeline. Talking to a mom who is living with or has gone through the challenges of raising a young child with diabetes gave me the courage and faith I needed to get through that first year. One of those women who stands out in my mind is Barbara Williams. More than once, I called Barbara in what my husband so kindly describes as my neurotic panic mode. It's true. One morning, I was in my car, parked at a grocery store, and I was weeping, just trying to put my head and heart around the disease that attacks our son every day. 2 bouts of the stomach bug had brought me to my knees, and I was completely exhausted. With her usual grace and wisdom, Barbara eased my anxiety and sent me home with newfound courage and strength. And for that, I will always be so grateful. About 2 months after Bobby was diagnosed, my brother Rob emailed me a New York Times article about Phil Sutherland. Obviously, a very impressive young man, but I needed to meet his mother. I found her on a blog, and within 24 hours, we emailed and talked live. She is amazing. Just last year, Joanna came to Atlanta to be part of a panel discussion our support group had organized. She remains part of a band of women that I know I can run to. The summer after Bobby was diagnosed, Todd and I hosted a play date at our house for children with type 1 diabetes and their parents. Bobby met his first friends who used pumps, meters, and syringes. With the assistance of JDRF, this fun day gave birth to the Midtown Support Group. And it continues today, with monthly coffees, panel discussions, educational talks, and, on occasion, mommy therapy happy hours. Well-earned happy hours. Today, it is a tribe of women and a few very brave men. I want to thank all of them tonight, because many of you are here. I want to thank you for your support and for being amazing parents, remarkable teachers, and warriors against this relentless disease. I had no idea how much support we would receive from this JDRF community. People like Duke Roos. Yes, here's for Duke Roos. People like Duke Roos. His playdates with our son Bobby consist of forklift rides and exploring the many boxes in his office. There are so many other people in this circle that have touched our lives. We are humbled by the generosity that surrounds us. Tonight, you've heard stories of hope, and there is so much hope for the future. Thanks to all the research progress JDRF has made possible. Even though we have advancements with glucose monitors and insulin pumps, we are not there yet. We still have to worry about Bobby's blood sugar every day, whether it's too high or too low. What we need is a cure. Curing this disease just 1 year earlier than we might otherwise is the difference between sight and blindness, the difference between kidney function or failure, amputation or none. And while hope is on our side, time is not. So I ask for your help tonight. Many lives, Bobby's life, depends on it. Thank you so much.